San Francisco is a city rich with history, more than you might think. The city boomed with the gold rush way back in 1848. Thousands flocked to the city by ship in search of fortune, and some of that fortune remains buried underneath the city streets. Recently, some of those ships were unearthed as buildings are going up right and left, and there are more than 50 more ships still buried under the city blocks of San Francisco. And joining us now is Morgan Smith from San Francisco's Maritime National Historic Park. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
This is a fascinating story.
Yeah.
Just to uncover history, and it's right there. Tell our viewers how the bay kind of got filled in, and these ships ended up just sitting in the bay and got covered with dirt.
Yeah, so the San Francisco used to be called Yerba Buena, and they had Yerba Buena Cove, and it basically was south from the ferry building, up the Embarcadero, all the way to the Transamerica building. So that was all a shallow cove. And after the gold rush, ships would come in by the dozens. There was over 1,000 ships in the harbor at one time. And they used all kinds of ships. So some were dilapidated and couldn't leave, and others, the people on the ships would desert them because they wanted to find gold as well. So you had all these abandoned ships in the bay. And what they really wanted is to get out to the deep water so that they could unload these ships, because many of them couldn't make it in the shallow bay. So they said, if you claim a plot, if you fill it in the shallow water, it can be yours. But the easiest way to do that is to sink your ship. They call it scuttling a ship. You would have it hauled up and sink it in the mud. So they had all these ships that were stuck in the mud in the city. And then in 1851, there was a huge fire that burned about 20 blocks of the city and burned all these ships down to the water line. And after that, they just covered right over them and pretty much forgot about them until recent times.
Okay, well now they're building like nobody's business right now, and they're uncovering some of these, and there's a couple at your museum right now. Talk about the General Harrison and the Niantic, and you brought in something that came from one of those ships.
Yeah, so when these ships were scuttled, people were coming in so fast in San Francisco. The harbor master in 1850 said in the 12 months prior to that, 62,000 people came into the city. Yeah. So they needed more buildings. So they would use these ships for all kinds of purposes. The hotels, saloons.
Jails.
Even used for the city jail for a while.
Right.
So they had all these different uses, and the Niantic and the General Harrison were two ships that did that. Yeah. So the Niantic came in and was buried. It was used as a store. And we have the stern. It was discovered in the stern of the ship is in our Maritime Museum right now. People can go and see it. Okay,
and from the General Harrison, show them what you have here. This is a bottle of wine that was unearthed, what, in 2001?
2001, they found the site when they were digging the basement for a hotel.
And there's still wine in here. It looks, what, like an old Cabernet, perhaps, huh?
Yeah, in California, we know aged wine is great. Well, this is 150 years old. So.
I'm not sure I'd want to drink it, but yeah. you recorked it, right?
So you can tell a little bit's missing, and there is some sediment in there, so the cork was probably bad. The archaeological firm must have recorked it when they found it.
It's amazing to think how long ago that was made. What other things have you found?
So some of the things are like parts of the ship, the masthead, things like that. They have parts of barrels. They have fabric. There's a lot of fabric for dresses. Sure. Even a pipe bowl that's really decorative and carved. So they found all these things that were when it was used as a warehouse.
And so when contractors are building something, they discover some sort of ship or archaeological, they find it. What do they just stop and they let people come in and kind of work it a little bit?
Yeah, they're probably not hoping to find one.
I would say it would kind of slow down progress, but
when they do, most of them are really good about it. Hire an archaeological firm, they do a dig, and then sometimes those end up at our museum to tell the maritime history of the city.
Now, you say there are 50 ships still underneath the streets of San Francisco. How do you know that?
Well, it's from primary accounts. So we have a research center, and there's other city resources, but mainly from newspapers, sometimes a photo or a log from a ship. We can tell when they're sunk and what they were used for.
And you also have an app as well, right?
So this is a classic way to tell about the park. Our new way is a game app. So people can go around and have different challenges at different parts of our parks, the National Historic Ships or the museum, and learn more about the park through a fun, modern technology.
All right, well, let's throw up a full screen and find out what's going on at your museum. If you'd like to go there, the Maritime Museum, open daily, 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock, foot of Polk Street, 900 Beach Street, and it is awesome, and it's free, right?
To get most of the park is free, but if you want to get on the historic ships, it's a $10 fee to get on the ships.
Well worth it. You can see this 150-year-old bottle of wine. Hey, thanks so much for coming in. We really appreciate it.
Great.
All the best. A little bit of history in San Francisco, and a lot of it's still underneath the streets of San Francisco. Pretty cool. Rosemary.